Another important food group that we should always include in our diet and take in is the proteins. We always hear people talking about proteins and how important they are, and that is because they are needed for growth and repair of body tissues. In order to grow, in order to build up our body, we need proteins. And if we have an injury, in order for our body to be able to repair this injury, it also needs proteins. So proteins are almost like the building blocks of the body. Also, proteins are used in the synthesis of enzymes and hormones. Enzymes and hormones are things that our bodies cannot function without, and for their synthesis, we also need proteins. So by now we know that proteins are very important to be included in our diet. Now, where can we find them to include them in our diet? First of all, we can find them from animal sources. We can find them in the meats of animals. We can find them in eggs. We can find them in cheese. For example, if we eat chicken or if we eat a steak, that is a source of protein. Dairy products are also sources of protein, like cheese and milk. Eggs are sources of proteins. Aside from animal proteins, we also have grains, which are plant sources. Plant sources can also provide proteins, such as in grains and in legumes, also in nuts and in seeds. So some people are vegetarian and they don't eat animals. These people can still get those sources of proteins from plants, from grains, legumes, and nuts and seeds. If we don't get enough proteins in our diet, we might have diseases. An example is a disease called the kwashiorkor disease. It is caused by a protein deficiency in the diet. It hits especially the regions on the planet where there is malnutrition, not enough or bad nutrition, where there are no balanced diets due to poverty or lack of resources, sometimes war. This disease, we can see it by a bloated belly, like here in this picture of this child. This child has kwashiorkor disease. We can see that the belly is abnormally bloated. It is due to deficiency in protein. Proteins are made up of the building blocks that are called amino acids. Amino acids make up proteins, and we have 20 different amino acids, so we can make many different combinations to make many different types of proteins. The basic structure of amino acids is this one. Amino acids are made up of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, as well as nitrogen atoms. This is the basic structure of amino acids, and each amino acid has an R chain. This R chain is a variable chain. Each amino acid will contain something different in this place, and it will make it a different amino acid. Now, this R chain can be any different combination of atoms. The arrangement of amino acids decides the shape of the proteins. So the sequence of amino acids, if we have one amino acid, and then a different one, and then a different one, and then the same one as the first one, this is a specific sequence. And the sequence will decide later on what the protein will look like when it becomes a final protein. So because we are going to have many different proteins, the shape of the protein will carry out its function. As a result, there are different kinds of proteins in organisms. So we have many different amino acids. Every type of combination is going to make up a different protein. Every different protein will have a different function. So we have different proteins in each organism, and each one has a specific function. First of all, we have structural proteins, which make up the structure of the body. Like, for example, collagen and keratin, they are found in skin and nails, and they make up the structure of skin and nails. We have functional proteins that don't help in structure, but they have functions like, for example, enzymes, which catalyze specific chemical reactions, and hemoglobin, which is what carries oxygen in the red blood cells in the blood.